guidance here, right? And of course, so as I said earlier, this is one such series, and we are going to work on few other things as well. We are going to do another series on career development. I think most of you are working, but still, of course, you might have your own career goals. So we thought of having another series very soon to work on career development as well. So there, I think there are so much of things to be improved at for every one of us. Yeah. So this series is special, like I told you, will be for understanding how to do better research. So actually, this title should be different as how to do better research, not how to do research, right? It's a bit misleading. It's, I think most of you know how to do research, but there can be one or two of you here that might need bit of a refreshing. So we are going, we say square one. So mind with us if you know, if you've been doing good research, if you've been publishing. I think some of you already publish quite a good number of papers, research papers, right? But in the outset, I have to tell you one, because this is all about not about a kind of another particular activity that you have to do in your master's program, right? So I think doing how to do better research is how to become, being a researcher is lifetime. So try to understand that. So I think that will give you the motivation. So without motivation, we should not do anything, right? And also without having that intention that this will be good for your life, wouldn't take you anywhere. So I also had that issue that when I started doing research, I thought, "Yo, what is this?" But at one point I realized I really love what I'm doing, right? And then also I had the motivation, okay, this will take me there, right? Now I understand, after doing my PhD, I understand that even though to the last moment I never thought of it, it was a bit of a trouble for me as well. I loved what I did, but still, I had a bit of a stress on that as well. Doing a PhD in a good university is always stressful. But now I think, okay, it was a really worthy journey. So I really wanted you to also to think in the same way. And also, this is not only for academic thing, research is everywhere right now. If you go to Facebook, they have R&D. If you go to Uber, they have R&D, right? If you go to Apple, they have R&D. So the world is changing now. Everybody's, all the big firms, right, are now doing R&D, research and development. So you just go and do the search. I think it's everywhere. So R&D is a life skill. Now you know that English is a life skill, right? So I think you need to know how to speak in good English. And also you have to know how to write. Okay, that's a skill. Communication is not English, communication is another skill, right? So without that skill, you can't survive in the industry, right? Whether you're academic or a industry guy or a manager or a startup owner, whoever, you need that. Similarly, there are few skills. So now remember, please understand that research also something very, very similar. Okay, so I think that will be enough seed things for you to start, okay, to value, okay, why you have to learn research. So don't think, okay, you have to do a research because there's a thesis component. No, because this will really value you for the rest of your life. I'm 100% assuring that uh, you will need this skill for the future, right, guys? And also another thing is this particular series of lectures, I don't like to say lectures, but sessions are more practical, right? So who does like to after work, full day come back and in the evening also listen to something but this is more of something practical which you also can do. So today in my particular part, I'll be covering the basics of research, and then I think Anuradha also will take you through uh, the rest of it. So it will be a set of practicals that you can do. Please try it out. Otherwise, there's no point. So these sessions would be there to get something done. So please do it. And also, not that we are covering everything today. So this is an ongoing thing, like I told you. So we'll jump in. So initially, okay. So we have to start in research. So of course, I think most of you are planning to start a research in the next few months, right? Sorry, next few weeks. So we had to find a topic, right? I think most of you have done this subject of research methods, probably, yeah. So you know the basics. But anyhow, you have to find a good topic. It can be a generic one or a specific one. You can start with something generic like, okay, why Sri Lanka is having a bad economy? That's a good question to ask. No one knows, right? Do you think why Sri Lanka is doing so bad in the economy? There are around 100, almost 100 people. Can anyone tell me why Sri Lanka is doing so bad in their economy? And as Sri Lankans, why we are facing all this trouble? Isn't it? Like most of us. Why? No one knows. So anybody can do a research on that, but not that everyone wants to do that. Why? Because it's to a bigger topic, to a wider topic. It might take years to do it. So it's not that easy, right? It's not that easy, right? So selecting a generic topic is okay, but you have to be careful. And then you can do a very specific topic, really, specific topic. Again, you have to be very careful at. So I can give example. You can even find out why, say, the Sri Lankan software industry work in this particular way. Very specific one, not a generic one. There's a very specific thing that underlies the Sri Lankan industry's, let's say, salaries. Why the salaries are in this particular thing. So it's a very specific thing. Again, you have to be very careful. Okay, should I do that? Okay, because again, it might take a long number of years to sometimes find out very specific things as well. So you have to be a bit smart, right? So find out something in between. So that always would make sense. Don't worry. In practical way, we are going to do this exercise, right? Not today, but the other second session, we are going to do this. Today, like it's overall like we are going to do a holistic view at how to do research, but there'll be one workshop, how to find the best topic. Even though you have to give your topic another 2 weeks time, but don't worry, you can change it. This is what happens in PhD also. You will know exactly how to do it, right? So you have to narrow it down to a exact point. So this is what you're going to learn, how to do it. Don't worry, we are going to get a topic and do it. You all will do it with us. That will happen. Okay. So then, of course, the best strategy, oh, sure, I have a spelling mistake here. Sorry about it. You need to look at what's being done. Okay. So you can start with something fresh without asking any questions. So there is a research method like that as well. Right? There's a research method as, called grounded research. You can start afresh without even looking at what is there. You can come up with a fresh theory. Why Sri Lanka is so poor? Now, everybody is saying our Sri Lankans, I don't know, our Sri Lanka. What do you think? Why Sri Lankans are so poor? Most of us, mentally poor, physically poor, financially poor. All these things are there. Cancer patients are going to why? So you can, their literature, they say Sri Lankans, we had bad politicians, right? I'm saying we have bad executives in the whole system. And some will say bad citizens. We are only fighting with Tamil to Muslims. So we've been doing that for so many years. So that's citizens' problem. All these things are there. But exactly, you can come up with a completely different theory, right? So you can say, okay, the real problem is not any of those. Real problem is what? I don't know. Something like that. So you can come up with some crazy theory and still you can do research. And remember, those are also fine. No one can say they are bad research because once you're doing that, now say whole problem, they will say Sri Lanka is just next to India, right? Somebody can come up with a crazy theory like that, but when you try to look at it in deep, right? In deep, even have to look at it. Oh, okay, Sri Lanka is poor. Sri Lanka is doing so bad because Sri Lanka is next to India. We'll find so many reasons to agree for that particular topic, right? So that you can do, but in your master's research, don't do that. And when it comes to industry research, please find that will be great because you can create something new, right? Later on, we'll understand this idea about different concepts like creativity, innovation, and there are different words, inventions, very different, right? So, but remember, such research can be better in, especially comes to industry, but not to your master's research, right? So master's research, you have to always look at your literature, right? They can be primary literature or secondary literature. So you can find out this literature. I'll tell you how to do those things as well. So you will learn this as well. Right. So then, of course, let's see what sort of tools where you can quickly find out about a topic, right? Where if you wanted to work on a research, right? So there are tools, remember. Now, today, really, I wanted to show you what sort of tools there are to do all these things. So let's start small quickly, right? So now see, you can always go to Google Scholar. Now here, guys, when you do research, you have to be smart, right? So, okay, now everyone goes to Google Scholar, so this is nothing new, right? So I'm not going to go talk too much about it. You can type in anything you want here. So you can always select articles and then you can start. Then there are recommended articles as well based on my history. Okay, that's there. Right? So of course you can search, but remember the most important thing would be keywords. Now people who are doing search engine optimization, they know the keywords are so important. Similarly for research, keywords are really necessary, right? So I'm doing a research these days called how do we protect health information? So we can say health security or health information security, right? And then I know exactly to do this, I might need to use machine learning. So I'm going to type machine learning so I can search for it. Sorry for bad mistakes. So I can then get my papers, right? So it's very simple, right? So it will take some time to get into keywords, but remember, always keep a book with you all the time. You can't say, keep a book with you. And every time you do something, make notes here. That is the best thing, a best tool for your research journey. Always better to start with a new book, right? Then always keep up your notes. Put a date and do it. Later on, I'll explain there are tools to do this. Tools like Notion, I use it every day. And that's another one called ROM Research, which I'm going to introduce you. So you can use one of them. Now here, when it comes to this results, that's very important part. That is, you have to look at the time. If you're doing research, of course, read the old papers, old journals, but very important to read the newer ones. So always, like I would say, since 2017. So you give that custom range, then you can get the better papers. Then what do you do? So I'll go quickly. So you will not stop from here. You will not stop from here. Once you get a paper, always look at the researchers. That's the best strategy to find better papers, right? Or the best researchers. Because once you go to this researcher, now this is the top paper that is there, no? Right? Top paper, right? And then you are going to this researcher, and then it takes you to his research page in Google Scholar. And this guy obviously is a good researcher. He's having H index of 25. Later on, we'll discuss all these, concepts like H index, I10. And then okay, now this guy is doing good research on this area, IoT, security, health security, and all that. So then I can even, you can basically sort it from the year. Then I can see what the new researchers that they are doing. All right. And of course, if you look at here, you can get the co-authors. Hope you can see it there. So that is one of the best strategies to use. Always follow the good researchers. So if you're doing a research, you should know exactly, okay, what are the top research papers and who are the top 10 researchers that you have to deal with. So you have to know both of these. So this is a tip. Remember, always keep those notes here. If you like to do it in a paper, do it there, right? Or if you do digital notes, you can use a tool like Notion, right? Then what do? Now, most of these guys, most of the good researchers, right? And how do you find good research in this area? Now, healthcare, or IoT, so I say cybersecurity, just click on the cybersecurity keyword. Then you find the best researchers in the world. Now, this guy is superb. You can't even imagine to compare with us, right? He's having H index of 135. He's have 100,000 citations. So it's very hard to even to go there. And so this guy is working in, I think, in CERN. CERN is one of those research facilities, right? So he's a young guy. So like the research that they do. So it's a one paper referred by 17,000 people. So these are the papers that you have to capture. So in your research, if you have read at least this paper, that shows that you are going on the right direction, right? Okay, so that's another tip. Always find out the best researchers. So you can do all that using Google Scholar. You don't need any other tool, right? But remember, take your time and simply take 1 or 2 weeks, 1 hour a day, building up your research papers, research topics, research keywords, best researchers, where do they work, things like that. And also, I'll tell you, this is one of the major tips of finding good research, right? So that is Twitter, right? When you go to Twitter, I don't know how many of you are Twitter users. Twitter is one of the best places to start digging into good research topics and finding good research, or not on the topic, everything, right? So if you search here, any of those good researchers. So now there's Jan Lee Kuhn. I don't know, you probably have heard about Jan Lee Kuhn. Maybe some of you not. Maybe there are people who are doing management here, net technology. whatever researcher, right? Most of these researchers right now, they have a Twitter account, right? So as an example, you can keep a list also. I have several lists where I can follow up academic researchers and all that. So as an example, this list have more than 300 members. Most of them are researchers, right? So I can follow them quickly what they're doing. So this is the strategy that you have to use. I will go deep into each of these areas in separate sessions. Today's, I told you, it's like more of covering up everything together, so you can know which directions that you can go to, right? But remember, right, so I told you several things, summing up to this level, Google Scholar, and then searching keywords, and then find the researcher and look through his research and find out the newest research. And remember, this is true for any subject, whether you want to do IT or data science or cybersecurity or networking or even management subjects. Okay, what is the next best tool? Right, so this is again to find a good research topic, dimensions.ai or good research papers. This is one of the newer tools. It has more better spread, and also you have better resources in dimensions.ai, right? So if you go to dimensions.ai, you can go to this access free web, and once you go there, you find a lot of things other than Google Scholar. So you can of course do better filtering through the publication year. So this is actually paid tool, but you can do a lot of things for free. And you can do researchers, as you can see here, and research categories, publication type, everything, right? So here also you can go and search health, information, security, and you can look for abstracts and full data, right? And also the good thing is, so people who are doing this machine learning sort of researchers know, okay, you need data sets as well. And for related data sets also you can see here, right? So there are more than 1,000 data sets for these topics, and grants, research grants. So these things you can't search because due to the problem of you don't have a premium account, but when you logged in, you can search for even patents. I know there are people who are doing these sort of things in the industry. I told you, right? So you can look for patents, clinical trials, policy documents, everything you can get it from here, right? When you're doing a research, go for those things as well. You might get the interest. Okay, why I'm doing that? Why I'm spending 1 year in my life to do nothing? Just think, okay, I'm going to do something, and I'm going to make sure it will end up with something valuable, even financially. I can do a patent. Why not? I told you the first thing is you love what you're doing and have the motivation, right? So these are some of the ways of getting the right paper. Of course, guys, when you click one of those, most of the time you can download the PDF. Most of the time, right? So sometimes there is a situation where you might not be able to. If that case, of course, there are other places where you can get. So I'm not going to say the unethical ways of getting papers, but most of the time you have something called open access, where a lot of papers are giving away free. And also there's another great tool, and then I'll move to the next section. Okay, so RXIV. RXIV is mainly for preprints. So preprints are basically, I believe that you heard the word. Anyone any questions up to this point? Anyone having questions? Okay, so you all okay? You're still hearing me clear, right? I'm audible enough?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Perfect. Okay, still I think some of them are things that you already know. Okay, let's go quickly. So then if you go to archive, you get preprints. Preprints are maybe the things which are going to be published, but still not published. So you can get access to them, before everyone else. So if you want to get cutting edge research, which are of course again peer reviewed, right, and more valuable, please find it here in RXIV. Right, this is a project started by Cornell University, but now anyone wants to do anything, you go here and search. These are the categories. As an example, even computer science, if you go, you can cyber security, all these things are there here, cryptography and security. If you click on this, right, so you can find the newest papers, right, newest papers. So this is one of the greatest resources. So I'm not going to go too deep into this right now. Eventually we'll come to that, because we have separate sessions. We'll have separate session going through like half an hour. What are the aspects? So you have to be master users of it. All these tools will change your life as a researcher. That's my point. Take it like that. All these tools will change your life. Okay, let's go back. So we done look at these things. So you know now how to find for papers, right? Where to find for papers, how to find for papers productively. So I told you a few things like RXIV, and also use Twitter. Twitter has nice threads written about papers and all that. right? And there's one additional one which I have to show you, papers with code, right? So this is also a great resource. Sometimes you might need some coding, codes for you to run. Mainly you will find these things on machine learning, but remember, for other fields also there are similar tools. So here the difference is you have the tools as well, especially the code which runs these particular projects. So if you want to develop anything, you are developing the product on it, and that is the value addition. So you can build a product out of your research. Do it. When you're going to do it? After 20 years, 30 years, after retired? No, now, right now is the time. So, set up your mind, okay, my research will give me value. I'll write a paper, I'll get my degree, at the same time, I'll have a product to showcase, right? So now you know that. And then, of course, as I told you, use the keyword Twitter, use Twitter, and we'll talk about conference and journal. I think most of you know about conference and journal, and we'll tell you how to pick a good journal, pick a good conference. So there we use different criteria called impact factor, H index. But before that, I have to show a few other things. I'll come back. Right. And now you have to look at the tools for the trade. Now this is a trade, right? So you need to use right tools. So one of the best tools to use when you have your research papers, you have to store it in a good place where you can quickly reuse. Otherwise, if you save it in your, if you just have printed copies or save it in a folder, it won't work. So that is where you need a tool like Mendeley, right? So let me search for my one. I don't know whether I logged in. I think so. So until it loads up, let me show you how it works. Especially Mendeley, they have a website as well, right? So you can basically, once you use your, now what you basically have to do is just download your PDF if you can get it from somewhere. And then you have to basically, let me quickly log into this one. So you can use one of those SSOs, and then you can keep your Mendeley database. So no, initially we thought of running this for 1 hour. We started like 6, 15, 20 because we were waiting a bit more. So just we'll go a bit more. So please mind with us. Right. Okay, that's one student. Right. So now this is Mendeley. So the value of having Mendeley is that you can create different categories, because I'm doing few different types of research. I do 5G, and I do, like I told you, we are doing deep learning, and also I'm doing software defined network research. So I can add all of things here. Just drop the PDF, then automatically metadata will be filled in. Right? That's really valuable. And then of course you can open this PDF. The best thing, guys, remember, this is how it's productive. I think most of you know this. There's a tool like this. But I'll tell you what is the most important part. When you read in this, you have to highlight, right? So you can select a color, right? You can highlight this. Okay, I'm going to say I'm going to use yellow, right? And I'm going to highlight this. So what I do to highlight is very simple. Just, drag and then say highlight. So if you are reading, highlighting is very important. This is how you take content from existing literature and put it into your research. So when you highlight, the cool thing is I tell you two things. One is this, and then when you go to the web, right? So when I logged into my web, right? So here, this is the same login I'm using. If I go to my library, right? And now this paper, so I have to sync this, right? Embedded and external controllers in software-defined IoT networks. So if I go here, if I find my SDN research, and if I open the same paper, embedded and external, that's the paper. Okay, this is one. This is the one, right? So if I open this, if I read this, so I can do it anytime, anywhere, anytime. Actually, there's a small thing that Mendeley had a mobile app. Now they are not doing it anymore. There's another tool called Sotero. I'll show you that as well. Now see, it's highlighted. See, it's highlighted, right? That's great. I think still you don't understand the value of this highlighting. But remember, this will simply change whether you are going to be the better researcher, great researcher, or a normal researcher. Now say the same way, if I just highlighted this part, okay, then if I sync this, it automatically syncs normally. If I comes here and if I sync here too, right? So I'm getting the highlighted point. So wherever, like even when you are going at bus, just traveling around, you can keep doing your research. So having a toolkit like this is very useful. This is just a simple example of value of it. But when you're going too deep into this, I think you can come and learn about it. So again, remember, these things are highly valuable, not only for your academic research, for anything else. Right. So then I'm going to give you, or the multi-million-dollar tool I'm going to introduce you. Right. This is, I'll quickly go through, then I'm going to transfer you to Dr. Anuradha. So this tool is called ROM Research. I don't know how many of you, sorry, it's not Roman Design, it's ROM Research. How many of you have worked with this tool called ROM Research? Yep. Anyone here? Anyone? So this is actually something that you can start working today itself. You'll be amazed of things that will happen using ROM Research. So this is actually the one that really wanted to introduce today, because some of you already have worked with these tools. Okay, I forgot to mention about mind maps. I'll come to that. Yeah, so but because the time is moving fast, so I need to wrap up things. Okay, so let me show you what's happening here. Now, ROM Research is a great tool, right? This will actually be, I would say, groundbreaking. Right now also is groundbreak. Already did that, but eventually you will find everybody will be user of it. This is a desktop app. I know. To do great things with it, you might have to pay for it, but you can do basic research on this. Right. So if I take you to this one, it's like just a blank page, right? I'll take only like 5 to 10 minutes max, right? Take a blank page. See, it's a blank page. Okay. Now what happens here in ROM Research, right? ROM Research is a tool which has a kind of a magical concept called bidirectional links. Anyone knows what are bidirectional links? Anyone? Anyone here? There are 100 people now. I'm so happy. Yep. So continue to come here, right? So we'll give you good content for you to change your life. Anyone knows bidirectional links? No one here. So I know a few people here. I can call up the names, right? So I think this is particularly important for every research, not only for research. If there's a writer here, author here, I don't know, creative person here, right? Anyone in your life, in whatever stage or whatever thing that you're doing, even for a developer, this will be the greatest resource, right? There are two resources that I use heavily. One would be Notion. Second is ROM Research. So I'm in Sri Lanka. I'm taking my journey to, or like my, challenge, or my, project to, familiarize or popularize these two tools in Sri Lanka. I think I haven't seen much of Sri Lankans using it. I have started putting these things on my YouTube channel and everywhere. And so in every class that I go to, I teach these things. Okay, so use ROM Research and Notion, right? Notion a different day. Okay, now ROM Research. Why this? Now see, this is what it happens. Now, when you go to ROM Research, I'll take a few minutes and explain. What happens is you come to this empty screen and there's a date. So this is today's date, right? So you have to put an entry in this date if you want to, right? There's nothing much, but the concept is magical, right? So let me do something. So if I want to say, today I'm having a session, I don't know whether it's viewable. Okay, session 2. So MSc students. So MSc students, right? So now I really wanted to make sure my MSc students, so that is something that I'm referring to most of the time. So I would say, I'm just to highlight this and put 2 double brackets. So automatically it becomes a newer page, right? It becomes a newer page, right? So what, right? Just wait for a moment. And then probably a few days back, 14th of July, I said few, so I'm just writing, right? So this can be daily journal. Few of my, what happens? Few of my MSc students, so now it's automatically is there. MSc students called me and asked for a session on how to do research, right? How to do research. Oops. Right, now what happens, right? So I have this MSc students link here and this MSc students link here. If I go to there, okay, now I have a newer page where there's nothing here, but there are 2 references. You know, references are important for research. So this is for research, right? So I know my MS students, I have say 60 CS students, and I have, I don't know, some information can be there. But what is important is wherever I refer this thing called MSc students would be Yeah, in references. So what again? So what? So how does this becomes helpful for me to do research or to write a book or do my creative stuff? Give me a minute. So what happens when you do this for a long time? Suddenly, even you know, realizing you are building a database, right? You're building a database. So what is that database? It's called a graph. So I've been using this for some time. Now, what happens is because they are bidirectional links, it creates this massive graph. Again, you might ask, what? So why, right? Yeah, now you know graphs are probably you know about graph theory and graph networks, and graphs are everywhere, right? In cybersecurity also, graph is a huge thing, even for management things, because graphs you can show now. You think about just a network, like Hollywood network, Bollywood network. If you want to get something done, you find the hot instances, right? Like one of the hot instances that is would be Shah Rukh Khan, who are connected to everyone, Karan Johar. So if you do want to do a business, okay, these are the important points, right? If this is in Hollywood, okay, Tom Cruise, okay. Likewise, in Sri Lanka political system, Mahinda Rajapaksa, Basil Rajapaksa, whoever, right? So if you know who are the major topics. Similarly, can someone tell me what is this? What is this graph? I mean, one of the political, the Hollywood, the Bollywood, what is this? Can someone tell me? What is this graph?
Does it help us in finding dependencies?
Yeah, but what is this graph represents? මොකද්ද මේ graph එක represent කරන්නේ? What is represents?
Hierarchy.
Huh?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hierarchy.
SCM.
Hierarchy of what? Hierarchy of what?
Follows.
SCM.
Guys, I can't hear you.
Life.
Huh? Life? Yeah, please try out. This is the most important thing. You will be amazed when you understand this. Yes?
Is it proposal SCM?
No. Yeah, you can go there, but before that, there's something to understand. Anyone?
Is it a hierarchy of our own research?
Oh no, yeah. Just one more step. One more step to the top.
Daily schedule.
Guys, yeah. So I'll stop wasting the time. It's the structure of your brain. Right? Only thing is you have to start writing there, right? If you start making notes in there, every day what happens, your journals, if it is your research, this is your research brain. If it is your office work, this is your office brain. And you can, at one point, you can understand how inorganized it is some of the time, right? How organized it is. And what are the most important parts in your brain or in your project? This is the one project that you're writing about, like, it's a software project or something like that. What are the most important points? The problem is when you start doing research, especially at one point you start reading, you suddenly, okay, this is the one. You people read another paper, suddenly you think, what is that? This is the best thing. So you keep losing control. You become, sometimes you feel, that's why PhD guys doing 5 years, 6 years research. But with this, you can cut down the 6-year research to 1 year. I have done some of those things like that, right? So this will definitely change the way how we do research. So guys, start using this. Sometimes you might have to pay a bit for this, but don't worry, there's a free version that you can work on, right? So there are so many cooler things. I can't show this because this would take obviously few days to explain what is this, but right now it's a very simple thing. Write about it, make notes, right? So I'll show you one example. So let me take you to one example which I've done. So this is a paper that I'm planning to write. So now here I have a one literature note, and then I have the reference. So this is called Vision Mask RCN, and then one paper, and I read it and copied that highlighted content from Mendeley, that paper, right? And then that's actually referred to computer vision. That is like the bigger topic, right? Bigger topic. And then yes, then again on July 4th, I've been working on the topics. So I have this one and several other things, right? So the cooler thing is, as an example, if I wanted to open something else, right, and refer, now say I told you, I copied some content and put it there. So I want to get that content, you have to say shift click, right? And I get the second one here. It's the same thing, sorry. But now when you're writing, you get more other things like here. You can put more things here, right? Put more things here, right? Okay. So likewise, when I'm writing my paper, I can simply copy paste. So this is productivity, guys. You're writing a proposal, you write your proposals here. You just copy paste here, Control C, and you want to edit here, Control V. Just do it there. You can put images, you can put videos, whatsoever, right? So your writing time, word එකේ ලිව්වනම් ඕක, right? අරක ගන්න ඕනේ, මේක open කරන්න ඕනේ, අර 2 pages දාගන්න ඕනේ සමහර කට්ටිය. එහෙම කරන්නේ නැහැ ගොඩක් කට්ටිය. So even you can open a book at this side, and referring the book you can write here, or your own notes, somebody else's notes, so fast, and everything is referred. So this is just a starting point, guys. Starting point. Do you have any questions with this? I don't know whether I managed to provide that real value to you. Sorry if I am not, but don't worry, in our additional sessions, we're going to talk on these things, because this will change your life if you use it right. All the tools that I mentioned today will surely change your lives as a researcher, as industry professionals, because everybody's using it. I know there's a group, they have Zoom sessions, right? They are doing like 6 months courses and implementing different things using this particular tool. So we have something called shared graph. Now, when you have a shared graph, that's how I'm going to work with my students in the next semester. So I'm going to have a shared graph created, right? Then all these students, we are going to work like this in the Zoom session. Everybody's writing their research. We are going to link up, because most of the research that I do would be on cybersecurity and partly on UX or IoT or something like that. So we get similar people, like 5 people together, they work, and suddenly then they get connected. Everybody's getting connected. So suddenly they realize, okay, so now suddenly we realize, okay, this will be the most powerful thing in the world, right? This has already happened. Even people from Stanford and all these great universities are doing this right now. So why not us? Right? Right? So I'm not going to talk too much about that. So yeah, so that's basically it. And apart from that, this is one of the other cooler tools. You can do fun things also. As an example, you can have your own daily notes. As an example, I'll quickly finish. Give me like 1 or 2 minutes, then I'm going to transfer to Dr. Anuradha. So I can do a morning check-in. So like things like that. So every day morning, I'm going to do this now. How I slept? Okay, I slept 8 hours. Energy level, oh, really good. Mood, perfect, right? And you can do things like, okay, you can have a daily notes and journals. When you start doing that, you feel that, okay, you are very different, right? And you can have agenda. Okay, I done that. You can do those crazy things as well, right? And one of the coolest thing that I'm going to teach you, share you with the second session that we're having, something called deep work. And this is how I do the deep work right now, because we don't do deep work, right? When I do deep work, it's different from shallow work. That is, I'm going to throw away all my books. I'm going to throw away my phone. I'm going to do all that. And that's another fun thing called Pomodoro timer. So then I can set it to normally 30-25 minutes. So then those 30 minutes, I'm going to start this. All right, now this 29 minutes, I'm not going to talk with any bugger, right? Anyone, no phones, nothing, just the screen, because it's so simple. No, this one single screen, right? I can remove all the unnecessary stuff, and then I'm working. So this is called Pomodoro timer, right? This is called deep work. There's a book written on this. When you do research, do it that way. When you're studying, do it that way. We talk about those things also in the other session that we're doing, like how to do space repetitions and things like that, how to do better studies, right? There's something called space repetition. So we talk about all these things. But right now, learn here when you ROM research, okay, because you can do everything. You can do, blah, blah, blah. You can find good research. You can find good topics. But if you're not writing is the weak point for most of us. This is the best place to start writing. Very simple. You can go deep work, no hassles, just work. And that's all you need. Everything will be there in your database, everything, because whatever the highlighted parts will be coming here, and then you start working. That's the way to how to do research. Okay, guys. I think any questions, we can take 1 or 2 minutes for question. Then I can transfer to Dr. Anuradha to, reference. Okay, yeah. So I think summing up everything. So today what I covered is basically, okay, how to find topics. So we are going to go detail on this, right? I don't know, in the next session we have 100, maybe we can have 200 or 300. We can open it up to everyone in Sri Lanka, right? And literature needed, find good literature, books, best books. There are a lot of books written on the research topics, and papers, journal papers. And then tools to search for research. Plenty I have listed down, but you have to be smart, right? All these guys are there on Twitter, even some of them are in Reddit. So find them there. And now the best thing, Clubhouse. Right? So we can do a Clubhouse session also in future. All the research buggers are there in the clubhouse. I found one clubhouse room, that buggers, right? Yeah, I will share the video. That buggers are reading the blockchain, the Bitcoin paper of Satoshi Nakamoto line by line. It took almost 4 hours to complete that, right? So I don't know. There are tools right now you can do marvelous things, right? So yeah. So then of course how to be a good researcher, right? So Google keywords, I didn't touch on that, later on probably, like site, so people who know Google hacking, and then of course tools of trade. Zotero is great because Zotero actually have a mobile app as well. And one thing that I forget to mention, you have what you call as Chrome extensions. If you have a paper, you can just click on it here, then you can directly add it to your database. You don't have to save. So that's being a productive researcher, smart researcher. Everything, right? Everything. As an example, now say small thing like this. When I wanted to have this as a part of the page, part of my desktop, I say window 2. My Mac is command 2 or command 1 for this, command 3 for this side, command 4 for this side, command 5. Okay, so I think you got the idea, right? So you can do all this stuff, right? And the next one, of course, ROM Research. This is a magnificent tool, right? So use it. So don't worry, we are going to learn this. If you are interested, we can have like 2 to 3 hour session, and we can have, of course, my students will end up working with me in ROM Research. So that is okay. Now my time is already over. Sorry, we almost took 20 minutes more, but remember, I think this is good stuff for you. And I think I'm going to transfer session to Dr. Anuradha. Before that, if you have any questions, please. Any questions, guys? Anything you want to clarify? So I'm going to transfer. Is there anything? So I'm going to, yeah, Dr. Anuradha will be the host now. So, okay. So after that, if you have questions, and okay, just to conclude, we are going to work on all these sessions separately. Don't worry, because these things are more important than doing research. So we'll be continuing that. But only thing is, I think we need your comments to improve our things. So please put comments in our WhatsApp groups or just send us messages. And that is whatever critique is also okay, because we want to continue this to help you, to help us, right? It's a two-way thing. So please give your comment. That is the most important. Thank you so much. Over to you, Anuradha.
Okay, thank you, Lakmal. Once again, I think now it's good evening for everyone. I'll also try to talk about how to do a better research, right? Good research. Then it's a buzzword nowadays. Everybody says research, and plagiarism. A lot of things are integrated or integral part of our life at the moment. Then some of you are about to start research work, and some of you are still in a first semester, second semester, likewise. But now those who are in a third semester, actually you are about to start your research work. As Dr. Akmal mentioned, normally it is a time for you to start to find the topic. It is not a big deal, but anything can be converted as research, as he mentioned, as we believe, according to our experience, is there. Normally, I try to touch upon something relevant to plagiarism, because as Dr. Nakmal mentioned, the Mendeley tool is there. You can take the paragraph, and likewise, a lot of things are there. Based on that, now how to identify what is the plagiarism is a concern. Most of the time when you're doing not only with the research work, when you're submitting your assignment, your 24-hour assignments, exams, or whatever, nowadays we have to check the plagiarism. Now simply we can say what is if somebody asks a question, what is plagiarism in research? Normally we can say plagiarism is the unethical practice of using words sometimes or somebody's idea, either planned or accidental way, of another authors or another researchers, or your own previous work without proper acknowledgement. We can refer, we can say it as plagiarism. There are no any standard or agreed upon definition for plagiarism, but you have to think about, according to we can say Merriam Webster online directory, it says plagiarism is an act of using another person's words or ideas without giving credit to that person. Because if you try to take something, what you have to do is you have to give them a credit, Based on that, I think it is good for you to avoid plagiarism, because otherwise plagiarism tool may catch you very easily. Normally, now think about this kind of some kind of a puzzle or plagiarism wording or buzzwords. Here you can say summarizing ideas, words, video, quotations, books, avoiding, like a lot of things you have to do if it's a plagiarism. Now citations, articles, ethically, borrowing information, likewise a lot of things are there. Now here what you have to what I have to say is, now plagiarism is a very serious problem for students. Now if you ask a student caught plagiarism in a document, it can have a serious consequences for your academic or thesis or your research. Normally we can take a disciplinary action as well, right? Now plagiarism also harm the extent to which you are as a student can learn while in your years of academic courses. It's a must, right? When you are stealing someone's work, normally cheating through plagiarism, it means you are cheating with your career, as you have spoiled the chance of learn and develop your knowledge on a specific subject or topic. Normally this learning and development skill set could stand you in a good standard for later life. So therefore, when you are doing a research work, you have to learn how to avoid the plagiarism, then how to deal it, and how to now if you found in a guilty, okay, then we can put you into jail even, right? That's the meaning, right? That means we are stealing. If you are a thief, now whatever law enforcement available within the country, we can give you a punishment as well, right? Then it's very serious, right? Here you can see some definition here. Normally we can say plagiarism is the unethical practice of using words or ideas of another author or researcher or your own even, right? Without proper acknowledgement, we can think about plagiarism. Okay, we can say like considering a plagiarism, normally we can say turning in someone else's work as your own. It's a plagiarism. Then copying words or ideas from someone else without giving credit, plagiarism. Then failing into put a quotation in a quotation mark, it's a plagiarism. Because if somebody you try to take from somebody's thing, okay, you have to put that one within the quotation. uh, then we can realize, normally reader may have idea, okay, this is taken from exactly from some other authors, but you have to put the reference as well. Then giving incorrect information about the source of the quotation, also plagiarism. Normally checking words but copying the sentence structure of a source without giving credit, once again plagiarism. Then copying so many words or ideas, you can say copying so many words and ideas from a source that is make up the majority of your work, whether you give credit or not, right? Then most of the cases plagiarism can be avoid in yourself. Then however, by citing sources, simply acknowledging the certain materials has been borrowed, and previously your audience with the information necessary to find that source is usually enough to prevent plagiarism. Likewise, now here you can see some kind of a the cartoon here. Now this says this is just not good good enough, they says. Okay, then that's plagiarism. But now the student says, but I it's from your book. Then he says plagiarism, because you can't use some others work as yours. That's the meaning actually you have to think about. Okay, if you go to this next slide, it says normally plagiarism, you can think about two type of plagiarism. One is word for word. Now think about if you are using some wordings like and one by one, we can think about this as a words plagiarism. Normally it says does not have to be word for word plagiarism either. If you copy someone's idea, paraphrase, or simply change the word to existing text, you must provide proper attribution for the source of the ideas. Normally, you have to think about here, you can say word for word, normally quoting directly from another work without enclosing the quote is a, now here you can say some of this time you can say 6699 some students says, but it's a quotation mark should be there exactly this one from that literature you have taken here, and providing the reference. You have to put the reference as well. Then you can avoid the plagiarism if it is a word for word plagiarism. Other one is paraphrasing. Now using a source without providing a reference. Now think about you try to take think about one sentence as it is, right? But you have to reword that one, or you try to take a paragraph, you have to think about to reword that paragraph. That kind of things you have to consider here when you are doing the paraphrasing. Normally this paraphrasing means normally repaging a piece of text in your own word. Then paraphrasing without citation is most common type of plagiarism. Then if you try to now think about you have seen this as a paragraph, then this paragraph you try to read as it is. Then by taking that one into your account, what you try to do is you try to convert that one into your words, your own words, and try to give them a reference. Okay, we will see these steps. We'll try to ask you to think about 7 steps to successful paraphrasing. First of all, you have to read the materials then that you plan to paraphrase. Then read it several times so that you understand it well. It's must normally most of the time what we try to do is we copy and paste. We try to take the one paragraph and try to include there. That's not the way. But when you are doing the research, we have to do that one properly to avoid plagiarism. It's a paraphrasing. You have to read the materials properly and understand that one. You have to read that one several times. Then set the original. We can say set the original aside and write your paraphrase on note card. As Dr. Lakmal mentioned, you can use those tools to write them. No, the one side you can keep what you call research paper. Other side you can think about to write your own word paraphrase one. Then what you can do is take some notes on the main idea of from memory. Now it says first of all you read it, then normally close that paper, or normally we can think about without looking that one. You try to put the original passage aside and don't look it. It's the second thing. Then take some notes on the main idea from the memory. Now you may have, as Dr. Lakmal mentioned, okay, then that tool you can use to get your brain how it works during that time. Then based on that, okay, then you try to normally try to interpret that idea again into a piece of paper. Then you try to write your paraphrase, then try rearranging idea in a different order. It's a different way you try to note down that. Then check your paraphrase with the original. Now you try to compare and see that tools are very important for you to see your one, that paragraph from the original document and the your paraphrase. Then check your paraphrase with the original. Then if there are any paraphrase that are different, identical to paraphrase from the original, either replace. Normally, what you have to do is you have to replace with that one with another word. Then you have to think about to cite your source according to the citation style. Then you can avoid the plagiarism. It's very important because now think about if it says if you are using original paper 5 keywords, always your plagiarism tool catch it as the you have already plagiarized. That's the concept behind that one. That means you have to reduce that maximum keywords, at least 1 or 2, doesn't matter. But if you have more 5 or more, it take it as a plagiarism. Then if it's a other one is how to avoid word for word plagiarism. Now it says normally it's first step you can say you have to place the quotation marks around the language that you have not written. Then place the author's last name and the year. Author's last name, second one, author's last name and the year in parenthesis in the sentence. Then third step is place the page number that the quote was attend, or sometimes according to your reference you can use URL, likewise IEEE and Harvard, Chicago, whatever reference is